Good morning, good life. You're listening to Detail Therapy, episode 75 with TikTok rock star Erika Cruz.
She's an award-winning YouTuber and best-selling author, obsessed with helping you go after the life you want.
I like it.
Join her as she seeks out the stories and strategies.
Give me every little detail.
Of extraordinary people who found success.
I'm going to get emotional. Oh my God.
Welcome to Detail Therapy with Amy Landino.
You have to understand how it works because you cannot treat it like another platform or you're not going to do well. So TikTok is all about content discovery. So they push content out to you that they think you may like. This is why you see people's videos suddenly blowing up, because users don't have to go find your account and follow you in order to have visibility to your videos. What TikTok does is their whole concept, like their mission, is to inspire creativity and spread joy. So essentially, they want you to discover new content.
That was a little bit of my conversation with our guest today, Erika Cruz. In this episode, we will be discussing the details about TikTok. Yes, the time has come to talk about TikTok. What does it take to stand out on this fun social network of short, relatable videos? Also, how to understand the algorithm and what it means to get more views and how it happens with your TikToks. And finally, Erika is going to share a special gift with us so we can continue to improve our game in this fun social atmosphere. Okay, this is a really good one today. A lot of actionable tips. Get ready to pay attention if you have been working on your savage dance. Okay, before we get into it, for those of you who are new to the show, my name is Amy Landino and I will be your host. You can think of me as your number one productive lifestyle and success coach. I am the founder of Gatlu House, a resource dedicated to helping you go after the life you want. In addition to this podcast, we produce the award-winning YouTube series Amy TV, of which I am also the host. I've authored 2 best-selling books, including Good Morning, Good Life, which is now available on Amazon in all the formats that you enjoy. Link to everything will be in the show notes at our new home base at gatlu.com. GATLUW.com. Okay, I'm very excited about this one, and I always say that. I've got to come up with some more vocabulary, Amy, honestly. Can you just work on that? Listen, TikTok is something I was heavily avoiding. Like heavily. Let me tell you why. Because, there's a little bit of competitiveness with my sister, and I noticed that she was like the cool mom that was on this TikTok thing, and not only was she on it, she was learning all the dances. My sister has this thing locked up. I'm so proud of her, but I also was like, I'm gonna let her have her moment. Like, I have YouTube, she should have TikTok. Like, that's how this is gonna play out. But then I started watching it and I was like, oh my gosh, like, everyone can go viral at any moment. It's so crazy. It's not about having the best profile ever. One video can totally start to build a presence. And that resonated with me with YouTube. I also felt absolutely no commitment to stay consistent with it, which Erika's going to talk about what the issue with that is today. You got to be consistent if you want to be successful. But I was avoiding it because you know what? I was like, I can't do the dances. I can't dance. I can't dance like these people dance. I dance privately. I dance a lot privately to myself in my kitchen when I am cooking and I'm blaring my music, and that is all the dancing that anybody's going to need from me. But then I realized there was so many other opportunities. There's so many different ways of expressing yourself on this platform. So I just had to dive in, and it's been fun. It's been fun when I have time to do it, which, when you say something like that, when I have time to do it, it's not a priority. I'm being so transparent right now, but I also respect the heck out of this social network. I think it is a really interesting community like we've not seen on any other network. So I'm very interested in it. And Erika is actually a big friend of ours at Amy TV, and she sent me a DM when she saw one of my first TikToks, which, let's be real, have no views on them. But somehow my TikTok showed up in front of her and she DM'd me. And this girl, she's got thousands of followers. She's got hundreds of thousands of likes. She's got all these views. And she DM'd me and she said, oh my gosh, I've seen you on YouTube. I love what you're doing. I'm so excited you're on TikTok. And I was like, girl, I need to pick your brain. She sent me all these tips. She was just so giving and generous right off the bat. I was like, this is my generous genius right here. You need to come on my podcast and you need to tell everyone else what you told me, because that's what I do with information. I can't keep it to myself. I have to share it. So that's what happened. That is TikTok, A Love Story by Amy Landino. You're welcome. And also shout out to my sister. Not only do you need to follow Erika after this, follow Mrs. Carrie B, MRSKARIB, because my sister is the coolest daycare owning mom on TikTok, if you ask me. Okay, she's just so much better than I am at this. So I just want to give everyone all the feels and the TikTok shout outs on this episode because I find it to be so entertaining. This is the new YouTube black hole. If you've not been on TikTok yet, I'm giving you full warning. You will lose many hours the moment you join. And it's amazing because you're watching 15 to 60-second videos over and over and over until it's bedtime. And you're like, what happened? I don't know. Wait, did everyone get fed dinner? What happened? What? I don't even know where I've been. I blacked out. I mean, it's really like that, you guys. All right. We're not going to waste any more time on me talking about my irrelevant experience on TikTok. We got to get to the deets. We got to get really deep into how to stand out if we're taking it seriously, like my friend Erika Cruz, who I am about to introduce you to. Erika is a Bay Area native, a certified yoga instructor, and a TikTok enthusiast. With thousands of followers and hundreds of thousands of likes, Erika is taking TikTok by storm as her newest creative outlet, and she is crushing it at that. As the proud daughter of Mexican immigrants, Erika is passionate about connecting women in her community with the tools to kill it, both in life and online. Let's get into it with Erika Cruz. Erika Cruz, welcome to the show.
Hi, Amy. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited.
I'm excited. Well, hey, before we get into all the feels about TikTok, because I'm like itching to ask, I have to ask you first, why do you do what you do?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I do my day job because I have bills to pay and because technology is our future. I mean, we're talking about TikTok today. And I do feel like we need more representation of women as well as people of color in technology. So that's why I do my day job. And I do my passion project, which is social media, because I'm not fulfilled and I want to go after the life that I want. So I come from pretty humble beginnings with limited resources. Both of my parents immigrated from rural Mexico. So my mom has a third grade level education and my dad has a seventh grade level education. And to this day, my mom still cleans houses and my dad still does yard work. So this has always like really motivated me to work hard and to get to where I am. And it didn't always come easy. Like school was super hard for me. But anytime that I've done anything that feels like advancement, whether it's my tech job or a meditation retreat or yoga teacher training, I'm usually the only one that looks like me. So I want to change that. An example is Michelle Obama in her book talks about how when you walk through the door of opportunity, you don't close that door behind you, but rather you help people come through that door with you. And I feel just so aligned with that. So what's the point of advancement if you're doing it alone? So I believe that I'm here to empower women, especially women of color, to be the best they can be so that we can all collectively advance. And I'm using social media, specifically TikTok and Instagram, as a tool to do that.
I love that answer so much. I feel like I could go down 70 different rabbit holes. I'm going to start with just saying, I think you do such a great job of emulating that why. Because clearly you are, we're unfulfilled in some ways and we're fulfilled in other ways. And sometimes the things that we do on a daily basis are fulfilling and sometimes they're not. Right. And it's very clear to me with yoga teaching and with expressing yourself on TikTok and with, I found out that you have been a viewer of my channel. Like that's amazing to hear. But then also being in an industry where very much so women are not as present as men, but not just that, women of color and anyone of color not as present. It's just so clear to me how what you're doing is more about the impact and less about, do I qualify? And I just want to commend you for that, because I think we as women over worry about how qualified we are to do the things that we do. And so I just love seeing what you're doing.
Thank you.
So it's such a beautiful story about your parents too. Also, I'm sure they're just so proud of you, and especially for the brilliance that you're bringing to TikTok. Okay, so let's get into that. First of all, okay, this is my first question before we get into some good tips. Like, what was it about TikTok? What was the first thing that you saw that made you go, oh yeah, I got to do this thing?
So I was really resistant at first, which I think everybody else is, right? You're like, oh, this is a kids app. This, you just see a bunch of kids dancing
also,
on there.
This may be relevant. Are you like young millennial, like mid-range millennial? Like, where are you on the scale? Because people of different ages are judged for different reasons on TikTok these days. I can tell because of the quarantine life.
Yep. Yeah. So I'm almost 30. I'm 29.
Okay. So you're definitely at a fun age. You're at an acceptable age because you're in your 20s. Everyone's like, oh, okay, you're good. You're good. At least that's what I think. So you were hesitant. I've definitely been hesitant. I've kind of found a couple of things that were fun, but like, what made you change your mind?
So a mentor of mine suggested that I get on, and I was like, you're crazy. And he was like, come on, you should do it. So I downloaded the app, and I had the app on my phone since October of 2019, and I didn't post anything. I just kind of observed. And the thing about TikTok is when you first download the app, they just show you all the viral videos. And I was just seeing all the dances, and I was like, okay, like I have rhythm and I can dance. I'm a Latina. I can shake my butt, but like, that's not really what I want to do on this app. And I was very resistant, but once I gave it a little bit more time, and I think once TikTok started to get to know my style, like what kind of things I like, then I started to see a diversity of videos. And I was like, oh, wow, this is an up and coming platform. It's still really early stage where you can gain traction. I mean, everybody knows if you go start a new Instagram page, it's really hard to gain traction now because it's so oversaturated. So then I began to see some opportunity, and once I actually started making videos consistently, I was hooked.
And I feel like we're going to get into this with your tips, but I think you said something kind of big there that I have observed is the more you figure yourself out as a creator, I think the platform is not just feeding you videos based on what you like as a viewer, but potentially what you like to do as a creator. So I think the two are very cyclical, or at least turns out that way if you start creating. If you never start creating, you're obviously just going to see more content that you enjoy because their job is to help you sit there and enjoy it. But I also have found, like, my friends, every once in a while will get, 40 views, 20 views, 10 views. And then there's that one video that'll take off for some reason. Mm-hmm. And they'll start to see more things that worked in that content show up for them as a viewer. And I think that is great for inspiration of content. So I think we need to get into this because it's so interesting of a platform. Like you said, very similar to, Instagram's older. So the barrier to entry feels a lot higher. But with YouTube and Instagram, it's very similar in the fact that I think TikTok's just trying to like help you pick a lane so you can decide like, oh, this is what I do on TikTok. So when people follow, they'll see more of that. And that's certainly something that we do professionally at Gatlu House when we're trying to figure out YouTube and Instagram. So let's get into it. I asked you to bring to the table today 5 tips to stand out on TikTok. You have been doing so well. I love your stuff. You're the type of account that I love to follow. I love to watch people dance, but at the same time, I'm like, I'm never going to do that. Show me something that I can relate to. And I totally relate to your TikTok channel. You've had hundreds of thousands of likes. Clearly, you know what you're doing. And it's only the beginning. So let's kick things off with this first tip, which I think is really important. You talk about understanding TikTok. What does it actually mean to say, I'm jumping into the context of this platform? Here's the cadence of what people have come to expect. How do we understand it and use it to our advantage?
Yeah. So you have to understand how it works because you cannot treat it like another platform or you're not going to do well. So TikTok is all about content discovery. So they push content out to you that they think you may like. This is why you see people's videos suddenly blowing up, because users don't have to go find your account and follow you in order to have visibility to your videos. What TikTok does is their whole concept, like their mission is to spread creativity and inspire creativity and spread joy. So essentially, they want you to discover new content. And a buzzword that you'll hear a lot on TikTok is the algorithm. And I work in tech for my day job, so I'm pretty familiar with all of these terms. But the algorithm is nothing more than a computer program that decides what video gets pushed out to who. And the way that TikTok does this is through the For You page. So the For You page is exactly that. It's a page with videos that are meant for you. And this is where you want your videos to show up on as many people's For You page. That's how your videos kind of go from 0 views to thousands and thousands of views. So one big thing is once you get on the For You page, TikTok will determine how well your video is doing. And it doesn't determine how well your video is doing by the likes and the comments. What TikTok favors is actually the retention, the rewatch, and the shares. So even if you don't go like a video, TikTok knows that you're into it because you watched the whole thing. And then maybe you went to that person's page and maybe you checked out a few other videos and maybe you didn't follow, but TikTok will remember that. Like, okay, this girl really liked this page, so we're going to keep putting these type of either this person's videos or these type of videos on the For You page.
I love that you say that, because it's funny how we think everything is based on those what do we call those things? Oh my gosh, I can't come up with the phrase everybody uses. Just basically the metrics that we measure and that make us feel good. But the reality is, like, they're not actually doing much from a back end perspective. And this is an opportunity for this platform to measure something much deeper. Where is your attention? And your attention is on one video over and over and over again. That is super indicative of what you like, whether you plan to publicly like it and comment on it or not. And so I love that you talk about that, because it's something that we really should be paying attention to as users, not just as creators.
Exactly. And this is also why shorter videos do perform better. So people are more likely to watch the entire thing if your video is more concise and short. So this is why dance videos do so well. People want to learn the dance, so they're watching it over and over and over. And I'm sure we've all heard of Charlie D'Amelio, who has 48.8 million followers, which is crazy.
It's like the numbers aren't even real.
I know.
It's like, oh my, do you know how long it took somebody to get to 48 million subscribers on YouTube? That took a decade.
Yeah.
Like, it just fascinating. But yes, okay, so that makes sense. Shorter the better. I think also the tip there is, if it's not a shorter video, it's still got to maintain attention. So this is something we talk about on YouTube a lot. It's just an audience retention rate. We actually get to see our audience retention rates. I don't think that they're doing anything like this in the analytics. If you have they have a professional version of TikTok, right? Or at least like a pro version.
Yes.
Do they give you those kinds of metrics to look at, or are you kind of just trying to guess like how your retention rates are?
Yeah, you can. I believe you can see that.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure you can.
Oh, I need to look into that. I didn't know that, because I mean, this is so huge. You need to see where you're losing people, because we don't have to take it personal. It's not about your face or if you're funny enough or not. It's just that if the cadence of the video didn't hit, then you lost the attention and they bailed. Right. So you gotta better it every time. I think that's really important for people. Okay, your second tip is quality content. I think this goes really in tandem with that. If we're going to keep attention, what is it going to take to do that? And also, love to hear what you think about TikTok and how they're trying to make sure that the most quality content gets seen the most often.
Yeah, definitely. And to your point, there will always be exceptions to these tips or to these suggestions that I'm giving. So for quality content, the first thing that I have on the list is good lighting. So if TikTok, obviously they don't have an individual looking at every video before they push it out to people. That's just not scalable. So that's why tech companies use artificial intelligence. So if the artificial intelligence can't detect what's going on in your video because the lighting is really low or really dark, then they don't know if it's something inappropriate that they can't push out. So the chances of that getting views is pretty limited. So the second video I ever uploaded was, it was pretty dark. You could still see what was going on, but it wasn't well lit. And I got one view on that video, and it was because I sent it to my friend that was in the video with me.
Oh my God. TikTok's like, listen, Erika, we're going to make sure you don't get a single extra view because you need to understand you got to turn the lights on.
Exactly.
I mean, it's amazing how they are able to scale that. Like that shade, that literal shade that they're sending you is amazing that artificial intelligence can do that. But that's a really good tip because we think what we're doing in the moment, we want to catch the moment when it's happening. And unfortunately, content is so not like that anymore. It's actually very rare that you're going to catch a really great moment just as you are right this second with your blinds shut and in your dark kitchen. The reality is if you would have turned on like a little $50 ring light, it would have done exponentially better. So you have to put in some effort there.
Exactly. So the second tip is within quality content is vertical videos. So this is something that we've already kind of been exposed to with Instagram TV, but for TikTok, the videos that do perform the best are the videos that are created for TikTok. So I get it if maybe you want to repurpose videos that you have from like maybe YouTube or maybe just footage that you have on your phone. But the videos that do the best are the vertical videos because you get the full view on your mobile device.
That really makes sense. I just want to echo that because vertical video has been the bane of my existence as a YouTuber for so long. But at the same time, Instagram made it cool. And the bottom line is that when you make something for the platform, it's exponentially better because the people think that you made it just for them. And that's what every network is about. It's easy to want to replicate across the board, but that's so important. So now vertical video has become a dear friend to the video makers of the world, I think.
The last sub tip for this is to be creative, which this could be its own tip. But what I mean by that is it's not enough to deliver good content. It should also be delivered in a creative manner for it to stand out on TikTok. So how can you make your video relatable? How can you make it concise? What's the goal of your video? Are you trying to teach people something? Are you trying to make them laugh? Are you trying to make them cry, maybe clap? And, how can you maybe add an element of surprise at the end? That always seems to do really well on TikTok. So, think about kind of what your content is and how you can deliver it in the most creative manner.
You know what's interesting about this is sometimes I think being creative means using the tools that are being given to you.
Yep.
And we've tried to get a little creative here at Gatlu House with videos. And like we were talking about earlier, repurposing videos, trying to make them look right for TikTok. But there's just something about a regular vertical video with the TikTok text that works instead of trying to go above and beyond. You can still edit it up a little bit, but if you use those tools that are available to you, that's actually probably just as creative as if you would have gone crazy and put it in a professional video editor and spit out something with all kinds of fancy graphics. Have you noticed that to be true?
Yes. And the way that technology applications measure success is a few different ways. The time spent within the app, and then they also reward people that use the app and the platform. So what new features just came out that you can leverage? So how can you use as many features as possible? Because TikTok likes that. Everybody, all the apps like for people to use the new features. They want new features to do well. So I 100% agree with you. The TikToks that have done well on my page have been edited within the TikTok app, which they make really easy once you get the hang of it. When you're first starting, you're like, what the hell is this? But once you get the hang of it, I highly suggest using the tools that you are given by TikTok.
I think that's such a good tip. It's so important. Again, it speaks to context of the platform. And it could even kind of reign true in your third tip, which is about trends. The trends of the moment matter. Sometimes those trends could be that they have, I noticed just the other day, there's like this thing you can sit down and answer questions and tip your head left or right with somebody next to you, and it'll kind of register your results. Like there's some kind of artificial intelligence that TikTok has there. You know, using features seems like it would be a trendy thing to do, but how else can we leverage trends and look at them in a way as a creator so we can be discovered more often?
Yeah. So because TikTok is all about this content discovery and they push your content out to the people they think will enjoy it, participating in trends is one of the best ways to gain visibility. And I was really resistant to this because I was like, oh, I don't want to follow what everybody else is doing. I was all about original content, which I highly, highly encourage. But when you use either trending music or trending effects, or as you mentioned, the kind of the quiz effects that they have as well, or even trending hashtags, you're more likely to receive more views and be exposed to more users. However, make sure you put your own spin on it because nobody wants to see the same video over and over done by a different person. So how can you take whatever is trending and make it relatable to whatever your niche is or whatever your brand is and make it your own?
I love that you said that because I think this could get very confusing because it's like TikTok is the land of recreating everyone else's videos. But that being said, there does need to be a spin on it so that you can perform better than you did before. I think there's a misconception that's like, oh, if I just do exactly what that girl did in that video with that backing voiceover, then it'll do just as well as what she did. But actually, no, it's already been seen. It's already been done. And there's got to be something else, your personality, your circumstances, your something interwoven that is going to make it more interesting to people.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that that's such a good point because I see so many people that are just like, because you know that For You page, sometimes it serves up a little video where that's not started taking off yet. They're trying to test it on you. And you know TikTok is just testing something on you that hasn't really hit yet. And you're looking and you're like, I feel like I've seen this before.
Yep.
Yeah, got to get more creative than that. Okay, can we talk about hashtags? Because you mentioned hashtags.
Yes.
What does it really mean to leverage hashtags? I am totally caught up in the whole, you've got to use the hashtag For You page or hashtag For You or whatever. And I don't know if that's just a myth that works and it's going to get on the For You page for it. Or obviously TikTok makes that decision from the rafters. But what are we looking for when we're using hashtags for TikTok?
Yeah, so hashtags, they work differently on TikTok than they do on platforms like Twitter or Instagram because on those, they're more used as a search function. But for TikTok, hashtags are used to categorize your video. So categorizing not only, to your point, what you mentioned earlier about not only the type of content that you enjoy, but like also they take into consideration the content that you are producing. So let me take a step back there. That got confusing. So hashtags are essentially used to categorize your video. So using hashtags like For You or For You page, they're pretty oversaturated and there's no real categorization of what that video would be as compared to using something like, for me, I would use something like mindfulness or yoga or side hustle. That's one that's been trending lately. So you want to use relevant hashtags because that will help your video get exposure to people that are interested in those categories.
Do you think that ends up working not necessarily just because they're searching those hashtags, but because those hashtags exist in things that they have been watching many times?
Yes.
So the platform is serving. Okay. That makes more sense to me because I was actually just talking to somebody about Instagram hashtags today, and I may be one of the only people on the planet that just finds hashtags to be annoying on Instagram, but they are useful from a search standpoint. It just seems like TikTok is so busy serving you things, there's no time to search.
Exactly.
Okay. Okay. So it's about alignment, about being in the same vertical as something, so that you can show up for people that like that particular type of content. That is the takeaway there. I love that.
Yes.
Okay. Your fourth tip, excited about this, leverage the music. I think the best part about TikTok is that you get to leverage copyright music in it. And it's just so fun to see like what tracks are on there and available to use, not just music, but voiceover and things like that. We in YouTube world, we can't put copyright music into any of our videos. It's a totally different situation. How do we best leverage the fact that we have that accessibility on TikTok?
Yeah, so TikTok actually started off, or Musically and TikTok merged together back in, when was it? That's how the company started here in the States. So back in August of 2018. So the fact that the beginning of TikTok was Musically, which was around lip syncing, I think that says a lot with the role that the music plays on the platform. However, it's not only lip syncing and it's not only about the music. So think of it as an ornament or something that can enhance your video. So if you can find music that either the lyrics or the instrument complement or enhance your video, those videos tend to do really well. And then one thing that we just don't really think about, but it makes such a difference in the way the video has impact on people, is if you can time your actions or your text to match the beat of the music. Which
people without a beat, though, I think they struggle with this. I mean, you know, I hate to say it, but you know if you have rhythm and you know if you don't, because you can tell in your editing skills whether it was present or not.
Yep.
But I do think that that's important because that has to do with the cadence, that has to do with the watchability, that has to do with audience retention. And it is something that you really need to train yourself on. But that's very, very, very important. Anything else on music that we need to know?
I mean, just think about when you're watching a film or a movie, right? And like, think about the role that the music plays. Like the music almost determines what feeling you get when you're watching a specific scene. So you have to think about your TikToks in that way as well. Like the music can really help set the tone. Is this like a more serious? Is this upbeat? Is this, you know, a comedy video? I really do think that the music can enhance your video.
Such a good point. There is so much psychologically that goes in with music. And something I've always talked about is knowing who your viewer is. This is a great instance of that. If you know who your viewer is, at least to the point where you know how you want to make them feel, that will help, I think, with what the video should be like and what the music is going to be to help them get there.
Yeah.
Okay, your fifth tip, be consistent, authentic, and engaging. How can we sum this all up?
Yeah, so consistency is important because you never know what is going to blow up. Anybody that's been on TikTok for more than a month or anybody that's been creating videos on TikTok will tell you, I had no idea that video was going to blow up. I almost didn't post it, but I'm so glad I did. So you never know what will gain traction and visibility. So the more consistent you are, the more chances you have of gaining a larger audience.
So, can you kind of just go deeper on that? What's consistency look like for TikTok? Like if you're talking about, because I think there's a misconception that it's like 80 times a day. What is consistency on TikTok?
Yeah, so there are individuals that post like 4 to 5 times a day. But I mean, as we mentioned earlier, I have a day job. I don't have that much time. So I just highly recommend batch recording, you know, when you are more creative and if you can, and initially this is going to be hard because you're still figuring out what to do. But once you get an understanding, it actually doesn't take too much time to create TikTok videos because they're so short. So I recommend kind of batch recording and then saving them as drafts, and then you can post at a later time. So consistency for me is once a day or once every other day. Obviously, you don't want to burn out. And that's why it's important to create content that's meaningful for you, because if you're creating 4 pieces of content just following trends, just so you can get views, you're going to burn out because that's not you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that creativity really needs to be at the heart of why you're doing this because, you know, other than likes and views, I mean, what else do you have to measure success here? If you're not having fun, I mean, it just seems so silly. And I also like your tip about batching. particularly for TikTok, and I'll tell you why. Because I have also had some things sit on my phone for a little while, and in the moment, you want to judge the heck out of yourself when you're making a TikTok. Like, let's just put it out there.
Yep.
But, you might watch it back tomorrow or the next day and go, this is a piece of content I can work with. Let's just play with it a little bit, add a little bit of effect here, add some text, make a funny caption. I really think that the magic is in how you tie it all together in that caption. Just like the best meme accounts on Instagram, I think that's why my last 2 videos have done well, is because of how I'm reiterating the voiceover I'm using, the conclusion I'm drawing from the whole thing, written in the caption, very simply, nothing long, and just laughing at myself as much as everybody else is.
I'm profusely nodding my head over here, and I wish you could see me. Yes. I'm snapping my fingers. Yes.
The whole thing with it. We're with it. Yeah. I just think you have to have fun with it, and that, leave the judgment at the door, take the batch time, and then walk away from the content and come back later, laugh at yourself, and figure out what you can do with it. Because
Exactly.
I mean, like, that's the authenticity piece, right? Like, this is it. This is me, people. Totally. Okay. So much in that. So helpful. Let's go over it one more time. Your 5 tips to stand out on TikTok. Number 1, understand it. Start to get to know that algorithm a little bit to the best of your ability so that you can start to leverage it for what it's offering you. Number 2, quality content. Yes, you might have a funny moment, but do your best to pull the light out at least and make sure you're shooting it vertically. Nobody wants to see your repurposed YouTube video on TikTok. Number 3, trends matter. Keep up with them. Be a viewer before you're a creator. Get used to what people are doing there. If you don't want to do the dance, that's okay. Lots of people don't do the dance. Lots of people don't lip sync. They just do a little something else. And if you find your spot, then it's probably going to help to know if it's trending or not, or how you can latch onto trends. Number 4, leverage the music, because why wouldn't you? And number 5, consistency, authenticity, and being engaging. I mean, from the engagement side, Erika, what's your policy on comments in terms of like how much you're chatting with people after you post? Is there anything that you've noticed there to be helpful?
Yeah. So I try to engage for the next 30 minutes after I've posted something. But what I've also noticed is at the moment, I don't have anything blowing up. So my page is, I guess, slower with the engagement. So what I've done is I've gone back to the videos that have gone viral, and I comment back just to kind of remind people that my page is there. And it's now I'm suddenly getting more views on all my other videos because they revisit my page, or maybe they didn't follow me initially. And then they're like, oh, there's more content here now. So now I'm going to follow.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's like we kind of talk about this on YouTube as like hub, hero, and help. These videos that tend to go crazy viral, whatever crazy viral is in your world, and they become those hero pieces. You use them to keep people in the fold. And so where TikTok is trying to figure out what people like to watch, if you comment back with them, if you remind the algorithm that person liked your stuff, they might get served up some other video that's not being served as well. In your channel as a whole. And so that's such a good point. Do not just start the conversation and then drop the mic. You've got to continue the conversation in the comments.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Erika, thank you so much for your time today. Can you share a little bit about anything you're working on, stuff you're excited about, where everybody can follow you on TikTok, just everything that we need to know to catch up with you after this episode?
Yeah, for sure. So upcoming is that I've been invited to a new TikTok program that's focused on educational content. So I'll be working on creating videos that educate, inspire, or feel actionable to users. So I'm really excited about that. You can find me pretty much everywhere at the Erika Cruz. So Erika is Erika. So you can find me on TikTok under that name, as well as Instagram, even LinkedIn. And then that will be my website once it's launched at the beginning of next month. And yeah, so the Erika Cruz.
Awesome. Hey, in just a few minutes, I would like to record the secret show with you if you're up for it.
Yes.
Awesome. This is a secret because it's for my friends in Shine Squad. You guys can find out more details about that and listen to Erika's secret show in Patreon at patreon.com/AmyTV. But before we do that, Erika, I have to ask you my final question. what does it mean to you to go after the life you want?
Yeah, so to me, that means to take ownership of your own life. And that means your thoughts as well as your actions. So the way I like to think about it is you are the CEO of your life. And it's okay to have a board of directors helping guide you. But many times we let those people make key decisions. But growth and fulfillment, they don't come from doing what others tell you to do. It comes from doing what truly brings you joy. So I would encourage people to start to observe themselves with curiosity. Like when you start dating somebody, you're so curious about them. So like start to date yourself. Like what gets you excited? What kind of books, what kind of movies, what conversations like light you up? How can you start to listen to that internal voice and quiet out the external voices so that you can know what life you want to go after?
Erika, thank you so much for being on the show. I need to see a TikTok from you about dating yourself because that is just so good. That's so good. Okay. All right, let's catch the deets from this TikTok conversation. First and foremost, get your light right. I'm telling you, these platforms are very smart. And as Erika said, they don't need humans to know you didn't turn a proper light on for your video. So I am so excited to tell you this. In the show notes, we are going to link to a ring light that's not going to take up your whole house, first of all, because I find that annoying. And I am somebody who has lights in her house because of what I do for a living. And no, it's not that kind of video. Haha, just kidding. So here's the thing. We've actually had this struggle lately where our clients are having to do a lot of video from home where they used to do live events. When you do live events and you're a very big organization, you've got all the resources on your side. When you're quarantined at home, it's very hard to make things look fancy. Light does a lot for you. And we found these kind of small, but can be full size in terms of height, but will go great on your desk or on a countertop ring lights. And they're just about 6 inches or so in diameter, and they're great. They just brighten you up just enough, and they can hold your smartphone and they can do the whole thing for you. If you're taking TikTok seriously, this is a great thing to have. You don't have to have a ring light that is human sized, okay? You can have one that's a little bit more manageable. So we'll link to that in the show notes so that you can check that out. I'm sure Erika has her own recommendations for gear and things like that, so you'll definitely want to check that out as well. But that's something that we've actually been buying in bulk and sending to our clients to do corporate video work at a moment where they can't do the live events that they're doing. So I thought I would share that tech tip as a part of this detail. But if you do not have your light right, the computers know it, okay? The algorithm knows it, the technology knows it, the artificial intelligence is going to say, this video is not that good. The next detail is caption contests continue. You can make a great video. You can do something very similar to what somebody else did. But the win is when you write something in the caption that gets people like, oh yeah, this is so relatable. And that makes them want to watch it over and over, continue to come back to your profile, and that's going to help you a lot. And finally, as much as we want staying power and consistency, you still need to follow those trends. TikTok is still kind of in its infancy from a brand awareness standpoint. It might not be that young because it was kind of a collaboration of the Musically situation and they merged and it's this big thing now. But most of the world doesn't quite understand what it is. So jumping onto trends helps to communicate what it is, and it also helps you to be able to be relevant. So they can take you kind of displaying a trend that they're putting out into the world and give you more views because you're helping them communicate what TikTok is to the masses. So really pay attention to those trends because it's not just about hopping on the bandwagon. It's actually something that could potentially get you some more exposure. Okay, if you want some more TikTok tips, I highly recommend you check out a free gift from Erika. We're going to link to it in the show notes. This is going to be some more tips to help improve your TikTok presence. And you need to check out Erika's TikTok because she, you can see, is taking this very seriously from a creative standpoint. And she's got so many good pieces of advice for how to stand out. She's clearly paying attention to how this thing works. And if you are interested in it, then I think you need to go download this guide. So we'll link to that, get all the tips from Erika because clearly she knows what she's talking about. She did such a great job today delivering so elegantly how we take this silly little platform seriously. And I want you to go check it out. So swipe up, grab that link as soon as you can. Question of the day. If you were to pick a TikTok vertical, is it dancing? Is it one-liners from movies? Is it comedians? Is it role-playing? Is it duets with your significant other? Like, what is it about TikTok that makes you want to create? Leave that in a comment on our latest Instagram at Details Podcast. Don't miss The Secret Podcast with Erika. That's over in Shine Squad, patreon.com/AmyTV. We just had so much more fun over there. We do lots of rapid fire fun questions in The Secret Podcast, so check that out. That's all for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. As always, remember, subscribe for good vibes, kiss the ones you love, and go after the life you want. I'll see you back here on Tuesday. Cheers.